Hello and welcome back to LBG Reviews. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you're new, and if you're returning, please still be sure to give it a like because I really do appreciate it. Today we'll be talking about We Love Katamari, Katamari Damacy REROLL. The only way I can describe the aesthetics of Katamari is like they would depict a sugar rush in a cartoon. Lots of flashy, bright colors, loud music, just overall it can be a mess to look at times. There are times where I will look at the screen and I'm just like, what am I doing here again? With that out of the way, what is Katamari all about? Katamari focuses on the player character playing as the prince. The prince of what, you might ask? Well, the prince of the king of the cosmos. Or rather, I should just let the game tell you what it's all about. Take it away, Mr. Narrator Guy.
The great cosmos. A world of mystery, both tantalizing and terrifying. Not a very well-publicized world, you understand, but a glamorous and influential world nevertheless. Bold yet sensitive and rugged to boot. Tolerant and compassionate with a heart deeper than the oceans. Such is the great cosmos, and the king that rules over it is marvelous to behold. Except for the one time that he destroyed all the stars in the universe. No big deal, really. Having come to and realized the folly of his ways, the wisest of kings sent to the planet Earth his beloved son, the prince, and commanded him to make a Katamari of ample proportions. Tossed unceremoniously to earth, the valiant prince rolled the Katamari entrusted to him by the king, rolling up more things than you can count. Vaulting boxes, pencils, erasers,
postcards, ramen, robots, cows, sheep, this girl, that boy, moms and dads, bicycles, motorbikes, buildings, rainbows, clouds, islands, rainbows, and dreams, hopes, dreams.
The prince rolled them all up. Rolled and rolled until the Katamari was big enough to be lifted up to space to replace the shiny stars that were so grievously lost. And that, dear friends, was the plot and purpose of the fabulous game called
Katamari Damacy!
Its popularity recognized no boundaries or borders, and it rolled right out of the game to bundle away the many and sundry ills that blight the modern world. Overnight, the king found himself a superstar. The adulation of the crowd knew no limits.
I want to meet the king! I think he should be bigger. The king is so cool.
I want to roll up more stuff. Oh dear, such a chorus. Fans crying out from all over the world for the magnificent king to do his thing.
Wow! Wow!
Thank you very much, and I hope the King of the Cosmos doesn't mind me talking over him, because honestly he talks quite a lot. But anyways, by default in Katamari, you have to use both thumbsticks on a controller in order to move your Katamari around. But what is a Katamari? Well, it's a little ball with little dimples on it that as you roll stuff up that's smaller than it, it'll cling to them, and you basically have to collect more and more items to grow your Katamari in size, to reach the requirements of that level, and maybe even go farther beyond, before you ultimately complete the level, it gets transformed into a star, and you beat that level and you can move on. One thing about the controls of Katamari is that by default, you have to use both thumbsticks in the controller, like I said before. However, that can be a bit tedious to control. So they do offer a simplified control scheme, where you just have to press one of the thumbsticks to get it to move forward. But at least in my experience, I still had to use the other thumbstick to turn it, which still felt very sluggish and very clunky. And for that matter, if you've got like motor skill issues, that would be a little frustrating, especially with the strict time limit that the game has. But I will say, because I started playing Katamari back during my vacation that I'd taken with my family to Arizona that I'd mentioned in a few videos in the past, I will say, Katamari is a really good game to distract young children with. The bright, flashy colors really catch their eye, and the gameplay loop of having to roll up objects is both satisfying to watch as an adult, and to pull off, I should say. And I can only imagine it's really nice for a kid to watch. The one thing I will say, though, is that the options menu for Katamari is definitely lacking in the descriptor category. Like, I was looking at some of these options and I'm just left here wondering, okay, what does that exactly mean by a simple controls, or just like none of it made a whole lot of sense in that regard. It wasn't until I had actually gone into the options, changed over the controls for player 1, and saw that, oh, I don't need to push with both thumbsticks this time, that I understood that, oh, simple controls meant that. Now, in that regard, though, Katamari is very much more an arcade-style game to games I've covered in the past. You've got your score, which is the size of your Katamari, or the amount of objects you rolled up with your Katamari. You've got a time limit, and basically, like, there is an overarching story about how this remaster and bundle for Katamari, which the one I'm playing is called We Love Katamari REROLL. I know that there's some extra tagline at the end of that, but basically, like, there's this whole little story about the original Katamari game and how the remake is made because of how much people loved the original Katamari. But, like, realistically, you could play through Katamari REROLL without ever even paying attention to the story. Like, yeah, you earn these little movie clips to find out about the history of the King of the Cosmos as you play, but realistically, they didn't make much sense to me while I was playing, so I didn't even really pay attention to them all that much. So as a result, I would say that Katamari really, like, gameplay-wise, it is fun, it is satisfying, but accessibility-wise, oh boy, are you lacking, Namco. Like, you need better descriptors for your options menu. The sleek menu design may look nice and may fit stylistically for Katamari, but it really would be nice to know, oh, this is what you mean by X, Y, or Z. And then, to add to that, Katamari also... Okay, Katamari is not an easy game, by any stretch of the word, because it's not as simple as la da 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 da, I'm rolling up all this stuff, there's nothing that can hurt me, it's just trying to race against the clock. Now, if you bump into something that is actively running towards you, or just if something is a lot bigger than you, now items can be smacked off of your Katamari, and then you have to roll up other objects to try to recuperate that size. And there can be a lot of crap that Katamari throws your way that it's like, no. I have had many times where I have failed a level because something crashed into me. I have failed many levels because something has crashed into me right at the last few seconds and I just lost just that little bit of size that I needed to beat the level. Then to add to this, the level failure screen is really ominous, honestly. Like the King of the Cosmos' silhouette is standing in the background as he fires down angry laser beams while he ridicules you for failing. It really does not feel good failing in this game, honestly. And that makes it all the worse with how difficult it can be at times. So, with all that out of the way, what other things do I think that Katamari could do to improve on its accessibility features? Well, for one, like I mentioned before, they could be more descriptive about what certain settings do. They also could offer an option to have the king talk a lot less, because that's one of my biggest gripes with Katamari so far, has been that I would be rolling something up and I'm trying to keep track of all the items on screen to make sure I'm taking a good path to not have to go back to get any of them because you roll slower but going backwards, obviously. And, like, all of a sudden the king's trying to talk to me about whatever I've done or if something has just changed in the environment around me. And I'm just like, yeah, cool, bro, but get out of the way. I'm trying to see what's around me. Beyond that, Katamari really is a fun game, and I would recommend it if you are looking for a more arcadey experience. Just be prepared to not be very good at it if you've got, like, say, visual impairment problems, because the art style can sometimes make it hard to look at. So, like, actually, that's another point is I think that there should be color options to adjust how the game's art style looks slightly, so that way it could be easier to look at for longer periods of time. And also be prepared to just really struggle, because it is not an easy game. I cannot overstate that enough. But with that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoyed. I feel really good being back into the groove of things. Expect videos to continue once a week every Friday. I plan to be putting out shorts every so often. The goal is to have a short out every week, maybe not on Fridays, but at least a short a week, but maybe depending on how things shake out, I might have to adjust that schedule a little bit. But beyond that, if you have any requests for games you want me to talk about, feel free. I'm always open to suggestions. I really enjoy talking about games that people enjoy. So if you want to hear my thoughts on what it's like to play a game that you really find fun, let me know. With that out of the way, see you guys next week.